Hello. In previous lesson, we started with the start OAuth flow method for authentication. Now today, we need to make forward and go complete OAuth flow, which will be the part responsible for the token exchange. Kind of a place where the magic happens, if you like. So let's start it, because this method is going to be a bit bigger than the previous one, so this lesson will be taking a bit longer. We start with defining the method complete OAuth flow. It will be self, then authorization code, which will be string, and it will produce a boolean. Let's add comment here. Oh, with authorization code. This method, at the very beginning, we want to make sure that it's reliable code, so we will go with try except to catch all the possible exceptions. Right. Here we are preparing credentials for basic authentication. Credentials will be the F string consistent of self config Schwab client ID and self config Schwab client secret. So it will be the combination of two elements here. Next, encoded credentials, because we want our credentials to be successfully encoded and later on decoded. It will be base 64 encoding used method to encode those credentials, which we declared above. Next, the headers will be authorization, which will be basic encoded credentials, and the content type application xww form URL encoded. After this comes data. Data is another set of parameters we want to provide. So grant type will be authorization code. Code will be authorization code. And redirect URI will be self-config Schwab callback. How did we define the self-config Schwab redirect URL? Okay. And that's it. This will be all of our parameters. So logger info. Let's change the wording here to properly describe the phase where we are. Exchanging original code. Okay, response. Actually, let's have a hint what we are doing here. Now we will do the token request. And response will be requests, self-token URLs, headers, and data. Excuse me. Okay, let's continue. It will be all solved at the end. And now what we will perform request with the token URL and the headers and the data, which we all defined here. Now we want to parse properly all of the responses that we will get from server. Response status code is equal to 200, which means that we got OK, and token data will be equal to response in the JSON format. Now we got the token and we need to store it properly. Store token in config. Now here self config Schwab access token will be token data access token, and config Schwab refresh token accordingly will be the refresh token field value from token data. Next, we want to make sure that the token will never expire without proper refreshing. So here we're calculating expiration for the token. Expires in will be token data get expires in, or if there is no data, we want to introduce 30-minute default refreshing flow. Expire time, datetime now plus time delta in seconds from expires in. So take current time and add time delta equal to this value which we just defined. Then self config Schwab token expires will be equal to expire time ISO format. And now show this in logs. Self logger info successfully. And self logger info access token expires expiry time, and it will be VF string. And here all of this should return this is highlighted explicit returns. Okay, we have explicit return statement. And now we did what covers the if statement, and now else. So if the code is not 200, self logger error OAuth failed, and we also response status code, which will show us why it failed, what code we got with authorization server. Even we can add a plain text, which will show all the information that we got at all from the Schwab server in our attempt to authenticate. Response text. And here we will return false. Okay, what we just did, we went through both possible versions. If the response code is okay and all the process goes smoothly up to the end, it returns true. If not, if any other code, it returns false and authorization is failed. Now let's close also the try segment of our code. We can get here and accept. Exception SE. Here, self logger error failed, and the same exception which is received from the server will be displayed. And here we also do return false. Okay, there we are. So what we did today, we went with the basic authentication setup. We combined client ID and secret with column. Base 64, which will encode for HTTP basic authentication. Pretty much standard OAuth 2.0 client authentication method. We defined the headers that we are going to send basic auth with our encoded credentials, and setting content type, basically what we are sending. The request data, we specified what we are going to exchange as authorization code. We include code from the Schwab callback, and this line here matches the URI from the initial request. Then the token part. If we receive the token successfully, it saves both an access and refresh token to our config file, calculates the expiration time, stores expiration as ISO format string for easy comparison. So, and then we here adding loading, then handling the cases when the response from server is not the desired 200 code, and showing it all to the user. And if this try part of the code is not, try operator is not doing what it's supposed to do, then we are getting an exception and showing this exception as an error to be handled by the user. This is all for current lesson. Next lesson we are going to go over the refresh access token, keeping connection alive. We will define a method that does the same thing and makes sure that user's connection is stable and uninterrupted. Thank you again for your time. We will meet at the next lesson, refresh access token part of the code for authorization. Bye-bye.